It started with the whisper of hope that had almost died. A little girl's weak laughter, fading with each passing day, echoed through the cold hospital halls like a ghost of what once was. And if you're watching this right now, don't scroll away. Because what happens next will not only touch your heart but might make you believe in miracles again. Stay till the end, and if this story moves you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe because kindness and hope deserve to be shared. General Raymond Carter was a man everyone feared, respected, and saluted. His medals filled an entire wall, a proof of decades of service, honor, and sacrifice. But no badge or rank could help him now. His only daughter, Emily, just 10 years old, lay in a hospital bed, fragile as a feather, her body failing faster than doctors could explain. For months, top specialists from around the world came and went. 30 doctors, to be exact. Each one promised hope, then left in silence when tests failed, and treatments didn't work. The general, a man who once commanded thousands of soldiers, now sat helplessly beside a hospital bed, holding his little girl's tiny hand. He would whisper stories from her favorite fairy tales, his voice cracking when she tried to smile. Emily had always been his strength. After losing his wife 5 years ago, she was his entire world. Then one day, as fate would have it, a new doctor was assigned temporarily to the children's ward. Not a decorated specialist, not a genius from some fancy medical school, but a quiet single dad named Dr. Ethan Miles. He wasn't there to impress anyone. He just wanted to do his job, heal children, and get home in time to make dinner for his son, Noah, who was the same age as Emily. When Dr. Miles first read Emily's case file, he frowned. He didn't see a mystery. He saw neglect. Not by the doctors, but by the details no one bothered to look at. 30 doctors and no one saw this? He muttered softly. The nurse beside him sighed. You'll see, doctor. The general doesn't like false hope. Just do your rounds and move on. But Ethan didn't move on. He visited Emily, sat beside her bed, and instead of checking her vitals first, he talked to her. Hey, kiddo. Heard you like drawing. Emily's tired eyes blinked open. She nodded weakly. I used to draw, before my hands started shaking. Ethan smiled gently. Mind if I see your drawings? She pointed to a sketchbook by her bed. The pages were filled with shaky but beautiful images, mostly of her dad and herself, under a big tree. Something in those drawings caught his attention, a detail he couldn't explain yet, but it made his heart tighten. That night, Ethan went through her file again and again. Blood work. Scans. Tests. Everything looked fine except for small, overlooked patterns. He stayed late, long after the others left. When his son called to ask when he'd be home, Ethan said softly, soon, buddy. I just need to help someone first. The next morning, Ethan requested a special test. The senior doctors scoffed. That's unnecessary. We've done everything. But he insisted. Then let me do it at my own risk. When the results came in, Ethan's hands trembled. He ran down the hall, bursting into the general's private waiting room. The general stood tall, emotionless. Dr. Miles, I appreciate your efforts, but I've heard every promise. This isn't a promise, Ethan said, catching his breath. It's an answer. Emily isn't dying of any disease. She's being poisoned, slowly, by something in her environment. The general froze. What are you saying? Ethan pulled out the reports. Her blood shows trace elements of a rare toxin, not enough to kill instantly, but enough to weaken her over time. It's not in her food or medication. It's likely in something she's constantly in contact with. The general stared at him in disbelief, then looked around the room. Emily's favorite toy, her blanket, her drawings, a broken bar. His eyes landed on the small silver locket she always wore, her mother's locket. His wife's. The one she never took off, not even in death. They tested it. Inside the old metal casing was a tiny residue of the toxin lead and other harmful chemicals leaking slowly into Emily's skin. It had belonged to his wife, who had worn it for years. It was all Emily had left of her. The doctors had missed it because they were looking for diseases, not a cause. When the results were confirmed, the general broke down for the first time in decades. He took the locket from his daughter's neck with shaking hands and turned to Ethan. "You saved her. You saved my child." Ethan smiled quietly. "No, sir. You both saved each other. She just needed someone to see what others overlooked." Over the next few weeks, Emily's color returned. Her laughter filled the halls again. She could draw, sing, and even play with Noah, who visited often. The general would stand at the doorway, watching them with teary eyes, unable to believe his miracle. One evening, when Emily was fully recovered, the general called Ethan to his home. He stood in front of a grand portrait of his late wife and said, "I've spent my life serving my country, but I forgot how to serve people. You reminded me of that. Tell me what you want, a position, money, anything." Ethan smiled and shook his head. "I already have what I want, a healthy son, and now, a little girl who reminds me that sometimes the smallest details can change a whole life." The general didn't argue. But when Ethan left, he secretly ensured the single dad received a special medical grant to open his own children's clinic for families who couldn't afford care. Years later, that clinic became a symbol of hope. On its front door, carved in small letters, were the words, "See what others miss." And every time Emily visited with her father, she'd hug Dr. Miles and whisper, "You didn't just save me, you taught my dad how to live again." If you felt that, if this story touched your heart, hit the like button right now. Because sometimes one simple act of kindness, one moment of attention, can save an entire life. And if you believe in second chances and unseen heroes, make sure to subscribe, because more real, heart-touching stories like this deserve to be heard. The quiet single dad didn't just cure a child. He healed two broken souls, and reminded the world that love, attention, and humanity are the greatest medicines of all.